Want to welcome everybody to the Chuck Banks experience. I'm unsure what the episode is, but we're just going to kind of roll with it tonight. It's just me because it's been a while, and I've often kind of articulated my vision on what I mean, being better today than you were yesterday. And perhaps when we look at the lack of longevity of life, maybe, just maybe we can all kind of put our hands in our pocket, pull out the empty pockets, throw it up in the air, and realize that you know what, we can make today better than it was yesterday. And that's not just being positive, 24/7 lollipops and rainbows and all that bullshit. It's more along the lines of, you know what, truly, we are not perfect human we are human beings, so we're not perfect at all. And just celebrated Easter weekend. For those that know me, they know that I make no bones about Jesus Christ being my Lord and Savior. I just make no bones about it. Um, do I attend like the synagogues or the churches? No. And I can go in a little bit more depth when it comes to that. I went to some great churches, throughout my lifetime. One here in Fort Madison, in particular, that was fantastic, with great people. But at the end of the day, when someone says, "Hey, man, did you go to church?" and I says, "You know what? Everything is church to me." I make no bones about that. I choose to, put my what do you call it? My Crocs on, but we can call them sandals, and I choose to be the very best version of myself on a daily basis. To be, to even articulate and even come close to anything that could be associated with Jesus Christ, I would fall way short. Much like if you look at, the people that followed Christ, especially in the early days. I mean, can you imagine what Jesus Christ would say if he were to come back and look at the way the world and the way people treat each other in today's day and age? Can you even remarkably understand, you know, um, the idea that we need to help our fellow man and fellow woman, and we need to do this relatively fast. And I often I DoorDash, and I talk about it quite a bit on the show. But when I'm door dashing on Sundays, it's one of my favorite times of the week to do so. Number one, because Fort Madison tips well on Sunday. Ha ha ha. But no, number two, I drive around and I see all these churches, throughout the countryside and within town. And we have some remarkable congregations. And can you imagine if all of us, instead of pretending like ours is the only way, if we would just hold hands and be what uh what we should be as Christians, right? Um, just think of how great we could foster in, and how much we could save, especially those in need. That not only in Southeast Iowa but across the United States. And I've had those thoughts that have ran through my head, not just in the last couple years when as I look at my mortality, and I and and I understand that the days and the hours and the seconds are definitely running out for me. But I sit and think, and I'm kind of conversing with God, and I'm thinking, you know what? I need to utilize this platform, this Chuck Banks experience, to basically create that vision out there, right? I don't know if you read the Bible. I read it. I don't read it as much as as I should. Okay, I'll just throw that out there. As a historian, I've read a lot. When you look at a lot of the variations and things like that that are within it. Um, and again, I'm not going to get into that 100% today, but I just want you to know that that I often, when I type in on social media that I pray for you, I truly take the time to pray for you. And I don't think that us as a society, we don't hang our hat on that. And that's bothersome to me because I growing up in the 80s, it was a different world. Then into the 90s, and then I had my first child in 1994. So that kind of ages me a little bit. The 2000s hit, 2010s, now the 20s. Man, our society has not changed as a people or a person or a place or a thing. It has changed within our vision, of who we are. And I was not alive when JFK was alive. Obviously, I was born in 1972. Okay, but when in his inauguration speech, when he says, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." I don't know about you, but as a Gen Xer man, I kind of that was real. We would go out and we knew our neighbors back then. It just seemed like society was a lot different. Our word was golden. Hey, if we said we were going to do something, then damn it, we were going to do it. But it just doesn't seem like we live in that world anymore, man. I don't get it. I don't understand why, on Earth. And as a historian, I understand. Okay, you look at the various wars that human beings have been involved in and all that sort of crap and blah blah blah, right? Why on earth can't human beings in 2025 be better to each other? I don't understand. And again, I've utilized the Socratic method in my past history classes, and if I sound like I'm going crazy right now and I'm going through the loops, I am. And you know what? This is the Chuck Banks experience, and it's brought to you by Turn Two Workshop, Stan Schmidt. Be sure to check out Stan Schmidt. 7 minutes in, and my brain is on fire right now. And you know what? In all reality, again. Um, what is my goal within the Chuck Banks experience? It's to basically make sure that I have documentation, okay, that I tried to make the world a better place, and that I tried to for to use my platform for people to reach God, and also that my kids and my grandkids and then and again and again and again they're going to know that I cared, I tried, and I worked hard. And that's truly what I envision it to be. Coaching culture in athletics. That being said, it was to change the culture to the positive, one soul at a time. And you know what? The Chuck Banks experience is more versatile than that, in many regards. But anyway, this past week, just to kind of fill everybody in, I don't know, man. Mentally, it's been mentally taxing. It's been physically hard. Um, I don't, well, of course I know why, but I've always been the type of guy though that, I had a big, strong back and a weak mind. No, I'm just kidding, right? I was always a person that could get his stuff done. And as I get older, as this mortality thing starts to articulate its vision, as the sands of time starts going down and the clock is definitely going, I have to reflect, man. I have to reflect. And here's here's the deal. Um, you know, life has never been easy for me. It was when I was a kid because my parents made it that way. But what I mean by that is I always seemed to take the wrong roads. I don't know why I did those things. but I did. I was, as a father, especially as a, Gen X father, um, I was hard on my oldest. Um, I was even hard on my other kids. Okay, I can't cut the mustard. Um, we were always taught growing up, especially as a Gen Xer, is to keep our thoughts and our worries and contemplations and rub some dirt on it and get your ass to work. And what that did is that kind of pushed into my parent raising years when I was raising my kids, and um, I tried to instill that same mentality. And what's crazy is as a father, it was the wrong thing to do. Here's the deal, folks, and I've said it over and over and over again. Okay, it's not that our kids, as a teacher, you're always saying, "Man, these kids this year, holy shit." No, it's not that. It's 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 kind of our reality that we've created ourselves. Okay, kids haven't changed, but man, you want to look at um, that thing, called the internet, and you want to look at the amount of information that a kid's going to be going through, and then you throw in AI and all the algorithms that are trying to reach your children, and we wonder why we have issues. Um, you know, it uh, it bogs us all down. I don't know how to say this without coming across as someone that thinks they know it all, but you know, it's it's definitely harder to grow up in today's day and age than it was back in the 80s or 90s. Um, and we have to throw that out there. The the world that we grew up in and how we were raised is not here anymore. And I think it's important for us as as a society to just get right to the chase, man. There's no sense in going back. There's no sense in trying to relive the glory days because that world does not exist. I do get into politics a lot of times in my, you know what I mean, my fase or whatever. Okay, it's something that I majored in college and I taught for years, government, right? But again, our founding fathers did not say that we had to go back and be just like that time period. Uh, I look at the last 30 years and I look at all the progress that a particular president makes, then the next president comes in and tears it down. Or the congressmen and women that have been there for a plethora of years. And then all of a sudden they're thinking, "Oh my God, man, you can't be doing that." But 20 years ago they said the same exact damn thing. We have to, as a society, try to advance and not go back for the glory days, whatever. Okay. I was an activities director for a small school district here in Southeast Iowa. I tried to change the kind of the look of things. I can remember when I made big changes and, there was all that uproar. Okay. And then when the stress became too much and I gave up the activities directorship, it kind of went back to the old way. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that pendulum thing, right? It's like teaching. As a teacher, we know, okay, especially if you've been in it long enough, that certain lawmakers are going to get in and they're going to say, "Oh my God, we need to fix the math standards." And then all of a sudden, you're doing the same doggone math curriculum that you were 20 years ago, or or even more so when you look at the social emotional welfare of our children, right? All that stuff started, okay, and it's a pendulum. If you stay in a school district long enough, eventually it's going to pendulum right back to what it was years ago. And again, I'm just a teacher. Who the hell am I, right? A teacher and a coach. But if you're a politician, why in the hell are you making educational ideology anyway? Obviously, you went into politics unless you were a teacher. And and again, we're all educators because we all spent a large portion of our lives in education. But why on earth aren't we looking forward? Why I don't know, man. And again, I hear over and over, well, Chuck, you have to follow the what do you call it? Oh yeah, the research. Another thing that drives me absolutely bonkers, as somebody in education is a lot of times the initiatives that we have are already 10 years old by the time they get in, to the system. Okay. Like Dog Mentality, Distorted Mediocrity, Becoming Elite. That was a book that I had written a couple years ago, and I was going to go live before my stroke. You know what? It would be like being published in 2023, and then all of a sudden in 2033, a school district decides to use this information. Okay, I don't know, man. It drives me bonkers, but I do know that we're in good hands. With a lot of the leaders that we have that are in the front lines, the administrators, the teachers, the people that are really trying to push for those kids in the front lines. Okay, we have some great leaders, but a lot of times I feel like those great leaders, are basically handcuffed, especially by governance, whether it be state or federal, not at the local board of control, because in reality, when we look at the vision that the current administration is trying to do, whether it's state or national, the the bureaucracy and the federal bureaucracy and things, when we look at the Department of Education, and you look at the amount of loopholes and different things to get certain types of funding, okay, there's a lot of red tape there. It's education, okay. I believe in local board of control, which means the local school board of control. It doesn't mean the state of Iowa, it doesn't mean Des Moines, doesn't mean Washington, D.C. It means the local board of control because they understand the clientele that's within each school district. However, our federal bureaucracy that is involved in education, the funding and the generalities and things like that, it just drives me crazy. I think back at No Child Left Behind. Okay, maybe the worst initiative of all time in education. No Child Left Behind. And if any educator out there wants to debate me on whether or not No Child Left Behind was positive, I'll jump in the ring every freaking time. Because the general formality is perfect, man. We don't want our children to fall behind. Okay, so here's how it works. Federal bureaucracy. Okay, so you get a president. They come in. They say, okay, we're going to do No Child Left Behind. All right, we're going to give this funding to these to states, and then the state's going to divvy up all this damn funding to put into each particular local board of control, and then they're going to be mandated to do this, and then it becomes law. Then all of a sudden, what happens is you have 9/11, you have Hurricane Katrina. And then all that fundage that was designed to be a part of No Child Left Behind is pulled out. But you know what? Each school district still got to follow the parameters in place without having the funding. Think about that. Yeah. It it drives me crazy. I love education, man. I know that teachers don't get paid squat. I do it for the right reasons. Uh, it's those text messages that you get from your former student over 20 years ago that says, "Damn it, Banks, you made a damn difference in my life, and I just wanted you to know that." That's why I do that. It's not for the money. I'll guarantee it's not for the money. And if you look at the coaching component, right? Everybody wants to bitch about what a coach does. Okay, everybody. If you've been a head coach at something, man, you've done something that 99% of the world doesn't do. And that's to take charge and be a leader. And I commend you for that. because every decision that you're going to make is going to be judged. It's going to be judged within your institution, and it's going to be judged outside of your institution, and then it's going to be judged even more within the media and the parameters that are therein. Everybody's an expert, okay? Um, and the reason I bring this up is recently, Kim Reynolds passed the no cell phones in the classrooms. Which, by the way, if anyone knew anything about education, they know that that exact stipulation that Kim Reynolds put in place is pretty much every damn school district in the state of Iowa has been doing for years. Did I yell? Yeah. Okay. What we've done for years, all right. I can remember at one point where, you see it, you took it, even in between classes. Okay. I've been a part of both types of school districts. But over the last couple years, you look at multiple school districts that I've been involved with, and it's been okay, so you can have your cell phone in between classes and lunch. Okay. Okay. That's what the law stipulates now. Okay. Can't have them in the classroom. Okay. But 99% of the time, it's the parents that are texting and calling in the classroom. They say, hey, man, I got to talk to my parents. I'm not dogging parents. Okay. I did the same damn thing when I was a parent. But it, in all reality, people think that this great thing was done. The local board of control have been doing this for a long time. And it's been done for a long time. And anyway, someone posted the following, and I don't bring up names, right? I'm a part of a lot of gossip sites, so I see a lot of crap out there. They said, well, instead of getting rid of the cell phones, why don't we teach the child how to utilize the cell phone? Okay, we've done that. We've tried. Didn't work. Do doctors, do law enforcement officers, do teachers communicate via their cell phone on a daily basis? Yes. Okay. Yes, they do. Do doctors and nurses and teachers, do they take advantage of the cell phone? Yes, they do. Just like the students. Okay, we know that. Okay, but the distractions that are articulated, and when you're expected to do what a teacher's expected to do in 2025, you don't have time to deal with the cell phone issue to begin with. Okay. Now, our school districts that I've been involved with, three of them in the last 20 some odd years or more, that's dating me again, um, have all had great cell phone procedures. Well, I'm not saying they didn't, but it just pisses me off when lawmakers seem to bring out this thing and we've already been doing those things. It really comes to the idea that we have to parent better. We can't be our friends of our kids. And again, I did not do a great job at that either. How do you fix it, man? If you can fix it, you can be a millionaire. I can almost guarantee it. Anyway, that's kind of my tidbit on that component of it this week. Health wise, I feel like shit. I came home early today, and this is Friday, May 2nd, I believe. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be going up to Burlington and watching my girls compete at tennis. And then we have prom tomorrow night. We got a lot of things going on in May, man. Whether it's a coach, whatever you're involved in, May's pretty busy. So anyway, that's kind of me in a nutshell this week. The last thing that I want to kind of jump on is this. I want my kids, all of them, all three of them, to know how much I love them. I want my three grandchildren to know how much I love them. I want my wife to know how much I love them, her, and all my students and everybody. I just want you to know that I pray for you. I root for you on a daily basis. And I'm gonna, and why is it taking so long to put out another Chuck Banks experience? Again, the only person I can blame is myself. I just haven't had the energy, haven't had the mental servitude or ability to get it done. But man, I need to voice the reason out there and and uh, and push the Chuck Banks experience over to that next level. Dog Mentality: The Story of Mediocrity Becoming Elite was written in 2023, and here it is, guys. Over the course of my entire life, I had often chosen the easy path from mediocrity to just being good enough, to becoming a dog, elite. The story shines through in this book, full of methods and experiences to change your mindset. If you want to get out of the rut, get this book. Ask yourself this question: do you want to simply exist, or do you want to make a difference in not only your life, but the lives of others? 20 bucks, man. 20 bucks, and you can get that book. And it'll change your life. I guarantee it. I hope you've enjoyed the Chuck Banks experience. Follow us on all facets. If you'd like to be a guest on the Chuck Banks experience, email me, coaching culture and athletics at, let's see, I almost goofed up. Coaching culture and athletics at gmail.com. That's coaching culture and athletics at gmail.com. I'm still doing the dollar initiative. If you want to donate $1, Venmo me, shoot me an email, and we'll get that done. I'm out. Hope everyone has a great week. Lots of love.